Born on November 15, 1951 in Ephrata, Pennsylvania, young Mike Mentzer was a wide-eyed kid inspired by the legendary physiques of Steve Reeves and Reg Park. By the tender age of 11, he was already hitting the weights, fueled by the jaw-dropping covers of muscle mags. Thanks to a set of weights and a guide from his dad, Mike was on his way to becoming a freaking legend in the making. Fast forward a few years, and by 15, this guy was already benching a whopping 370 pounds and weighed in at a solid 165. Talk about gains. Mentzer was chasing dreams, looking to sculpt himself into a masterpiece, much like his idol Bill Pearl. After high school, he served 4 years in the Air Force, where he cranked his training up to beast mode, over 3 hours a day, 6 days a week. Mentzer hit the competitive bodybuilding stage at 18, and quickly started racking up wins, but not without a hiccup. A severe shoulder injury had him on the sidelines from 1971 to 1974, but you can't keep a good man down for long. He bounced back in 75, grabbed third at Mr. America, and by the next year he snatched the title himself. Mike's career skyrocketed as he claimed the Mr. Universe title in 1978 with a perfect score. Talk about making a mark. He left a legacy with his revolutionary heavy-duty training program inspiring lifters all around the globe. And even though he's no longer with us, his impact is immortalized with his induction into the IFBB Hall of Fame in 2002. Mentzer's philosophy. This dude wasn't just about lifting heavy metal, he was also spinning some serious philosophical gears. Mentzer shook up the whole muscle world with his heavy-duty training principles, talking super intense, short workouts followed by plenty of chill time to max out those muscle gains. This wasn't your grandma's workout plan. It was revolutionary, stirring up all kinds of debates and ruffling feathers in the fitness realm. Now, while Mentzer was stacking plates and philosophies, his methods weren't just controversial. They were flat-out bombshell in the fitness community. Some folks were all in, but others, they worried about the potential health hits, like heart issues that could come from such hardcore training. Flashback to his days in the Air Force, Mentzer was grinding through 12-hour shifts and then hitting what they called marathon workouts. Old school, right? It was during these sweat sessions that he ran into Casey Viator, a fellow musclehead who clinched the win at Mentzer's first contest. Viator was all about those high-intensity workouts, cranking heavy iron to absolute muscle meltdown in just 20-45 minutes using those fancy new Nautilus machines cooked up by Arthur Jones. Speaking of Jones, this guy was a trailblazer in the high-intensity training game back in the late 60s. He was preaching the gospel of strict form, training till your muscles screamed no more, and keeping overtraining at bay. Viator's gains under Jones were nothing short of mind-blowing, and that got Mentzer's gears turning. He was jazzed about Jones's methods, but thought, hey, we can push this even further. That spark led Mentzer down a path that would change bodybuilding forever. Heavy Duty 2 and Heavy Duty Inc. This guy was all about melding mind and muscle, living and lifting by the mantra that man is an indivisible entity, an integrated unit of mind and body. Mentzer wasn't just pumping iron, he was also pumping out ideas, blending hardcore philosophy with hardcore training in his books. Mentzer was a wizard with stress physiology and had a knack for slicing through scientific jargon with his razor-sharp reasoning. Over years of grinding both in the gym and the library, he cooked up a bodybuilding theory that wasn't just about getting swole, it was about reaching your genetic peak, naturally and swiftly. Fast forward to the 90s, and Mentzer was still tweaking his legendary heavy-duty program, cutting down the sets and upping the rest days. He introduced the bodybuilding world to the ideal routine, a minimalist masterpiece of fewer than 5 sets per session, sandwiched by a hefty 4-7 days of rest. This wasn't your everyday workout. This was about pushing your muscles to the brink with techniques like forced reps, negative reps, and static holds to blast past failure. Mentzer's philosophies blasted onto the scene big time after he nailed a perfect score at the 1978 IFBB Mr. Universe contest. His teachings didn't just stay on the pages, they hit the gym floor running, especially when he took Dorian Yates under his wing in the early 90s, leading him to a string of 6 Mr. Olympia titles. But Mentzer wasn't just about building bodies, he was building brands too. Alongside his brother Ray and Dorian Yates, he launched MYM, Mentzer Yates Mentzer, aka Heavy Duty Inc., tapping into the body-conscious lifestyle wave, all under the watchful eye of Joe Weider. In his final bow, high-intensity training the Mike Mentzer way, he laid down the law on how to lift. Keep it brief, infrequent, and intense if you want the best bang for your bodybuilding buck. His follow-up, Heavy Duty 2, wasn't just about lifting weights. It was about lifting lives through critical thinking and reasoning. Iron contradictions. Despite Mike Mentzer's sterling reputation as a fitness icon, he had a surprising habit that didn't quite match up with his health-conscious image. He smoked cigarettes. To add to that, Mike Mentzer was just like the rest of the Golden Era crew, juicing up on anabolic steroids to get competition ready and look his best for public appearances. At the time, steroids weren't the taboo they are today. Doctors were handing them out like candy for everything from football players wanting to bulk up to treating medical conditions like anemia. And if you couldn't get a script, no sweat. Your local gym probably had a guy who could hook you up with something like Dianabol. But when the 1980 Olympia rolled around, Mentzer kicked it up a notch by adding amphetamines to his regimen, convincing himself they were just a turbocharged pre-workout. Ignoring the early toll it was taking on his health, he pushed on until he hit a wall, twice finding himself so wiped out he couldn't even lift his arms, stuck in bed, staring death in the face. Just days before the big showdown at the Olympia, that Grim Reaper vibe hit him again, but by showtime he had bounced back. That same day, the bodybuilding world was rocked by Arnold Schwarzenegger's bombshell comeback announcement for the 1980 Olympia. This didn't sit well with Mentzer or other competitors who saw Mike as the favorite, potentially clinching the title based on his skyrocketing popularity. Tensions boiled over into an explosive meeting where Mentzer and Schwarzenegger reportedly nearly came to blows amid a flurry of flying insults. Arnold went on to compete and, despite bending the rules enough to catch the judges' eyes, snagged the Sando Trophy. Mentzer, meanwhile, ended up in 5th place, a tough pill to swallow after such a tumultuous build-up. Mortal limits. Mike Mentzer was battling a lung beast called Berger's disease, which brought some serious complications like blood clots right to his lungs, messing with his health big time and ultimately playing a role in his departure from this world. When he passed away from heart failure, it shook the bodybuilding community and his fans globally. His passing was a massive blow to the fitness world, sparking controversies and debates about what exactly led to it. Despite battling various health woes, including heart issues, up to his last days, there's no clear-cut evidence that his hardcore training methods were the culprits behind his heart failure. The disease hit hard, but Mentzer wasn't about to let it stop him from living large. He once said, "It's interesting. On one level, it bothered me. Of course, no one wants to have such a disorder, but it never got me down." Mentzer was a fighter, not the type to mope around. He took life's punches with a stride, trusted his docs, and kept a killer optimistic outlook. Even after a gnarly shoulder injury that could have ended everything before it really started, Mentzer didn't throw in the towel. His relentless spirit shone even brighter when faced with a rare genetic disease. In his final interview, he laid it all out there, sharing his battle plan against the illness. After getting the short end of the stick with a poor placement in 1980, Mentzer boycotted the 1981 Olympia and hung up his competition shorts at 29, a young age to bow out compared to his peers. By 83, he was helming Workout magazine and loving it, although he still leaned on amphetamines to smash through deadlines and occasionally powered through 2 to 3 day marathons without sleep. But then, the magazine got axed, which crushed Mentzer hard. Things spiraled from bad to worse when he lost his dad and ended a decade-long engagement with his fiancée Kathy Gelfo around the same time. These 3 punches, combined with his ongoing struggle with amphetamines, triggered Mentzer's sharp decline. Tragically, on June 10, 2001, he was found passed away in his apartment in Rolling Hills, California, due to heart complications at the age of 49, discovered by his younger brother, Ray. The heartbreak didn't stop there. Ray Mentzer, Mr. America 1979 and the one who found Mike, couldn't bear the loss and passed away within 48 hours of his brother's death, leaving the bodybuilding world mourning double losses and fueling endless rumors about the lifestyle and training methods that defined Mike Mentzer. Olympia Heartbreak. On that fateful night at Mr. Olympia in 1980, Mike Mentzer, seeing Arnold Schwarzenegger's condition backstage, was sure it was his turn to snatch up the Mr. Olympia title. Yet, in a twist that would ripple through bodybuilding history, Schwarzenegger bagged his 7th consecutive win in Sydney. Mentzer was crushed, believing he was robbed of the title, a sentiment he wasn't shy about and brought up constantly even long after the curtains fell on that event. The rivalry between Schwarzenegger and Mentzer reached a boiling point backstage, famously punctuated by Arnold's jab at Mentzer's physique, remarking, "Hey, you have a fat stomach anyhow." This throwdown didn't just stay between them, it was a spectacle, with up-and-comer Tom Platz right there to witness it all. This clash wasn't just about muscles, it was personal, and it stuck with Mentzer. Tom Platz later shared during a seminar that this confrontation haunted Mentzer. After stepping back from competitive bodybuilding post-dispute, it seemed Mentzer couldn't shake off the shadow of that day. Despite their eventual patch-up, the grudge lingered, weighing heavy on Mentzer's heart and mind, contributing to his decline until his passing in 2001. In 2018, at a seminar in Zurich, Platz recalled the incendiary exchange that could have seen Mentzer rise as Mr. Olympia, if only he could have let go of the bitterness. Describing Mentzer as the intellectual golden boy of bodybuilding, Plots suggested that hanging on to that bitterness might have played a part in Mentzer's early exit from both the stage and life.